PRX.
Friends beyond binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, whether you call it a pram, a stroller, or a buggy, or something else, you say, what is that floating contraption that young being is in, our green little friend? And if you say, what is this person? What did I just tune? Well, welcome to Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. Eventually, the podcast that's here to keep you company while you fall asleep. Tonight, we're going to be talking about Season 3, Episode 1 of The Mandalorian, or Chapter 17. I don't know, Chapter, one of the, or whatever the chapter is. I don't know if there was 8, 16, 17. It could be 17, but that would only be me getting lucky with my guess. But it was a fun one, and because, I mean, I know I've talked about it before. I said, what do you call that float? Is that I guess floating pram. Floating buggy doesn't sound as good. Floating stroller, you'd say, no, you just say, you wouldn't call it a stroller. You'd be strolling. You could be nice to stroll with that wouldn't it be nice? What was that? The Beach Boys? They didn't the Beach Boys weren't together when the show came out. But if they were, or you were to cover a Beach Boys song within the Star Wars universe, you know who would sing it? Wendy Marstrap would say, wouldn't it be nice to be strolling with a floating pram, or would be nice to be in a floating pram? And you might say, what in the floating pram? Okay, so Sleep With Me's podcast, I get it. Most people, when they get to this show, they don't like it. It takes 2 or 3 tries to get used to. So that reaction is normal. We also have a list of sleep podcasts at sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you. But this show is here because you do deserve a good night's sleep, a bedtime you could look forward to. And I really hope I can provide it. I really hope I can help. But give it a few tries, see how it goes. Structurally, what's coming up, support, because a lot of work goes in the show. That's how it comes out for free. Then there'll be a long, meandering intro, which is a big part of regular listeners' wind-down routine or falling asleep routine for some people. It's a show within a show meant to ease you into bedtime. Then we'll talk about Mandalorian about 25, 30 minutes into the show. Or so, as we call Baby O-So. So that's it. I'm really glad you're here. I think that's everything you need to know initially. And yeah, I'm here to help, or to try to keep you company while you fall asleep, to be your friend in the deep, dark night. It's time for Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. And what do you say we get on with the show? Oh, no, that's not what we say. And these sponsors are how we're able to do it for free twice a week. Hey, everybody, this is Scooter, and this is where I ask you, hey, I don't want you to miss out on our Patreon. I don't know how often you listen to Sleep With Me. Patrons get 4 or 5 nights of episodes a week, so if you listen to Sleep With Me every single night, you're looking for variety, and you're looking to say, hey, this show really does put me to sleep, or you're looking for an ad-free experience. So on, let me just run through the schedule. Sunday nights, patrons get a new ad-free episode. Usually comes out about a week before it comes out to the public. Has no jingles, no thank yous at the end, and no sponsor spots. Then on Monday and Wednesday, very Scooter. Monday and Tuesday, you get story-only episodes. So if you like to build a playlist, story-only episodes are great if you just like the stories or if you listen all night. And then on Wednesday, you get another ad-free episode that comes out about a week early. Full episode, intro, Friends Beyond the Binary, everything's in there, except for the sponsor spots, because you're supporting the show. And you're supporting it for a ton of other people. And then on Thursdays, $10 to $20 patrons get all intro episodes, all night episodes, bonus episodes. And then we're gearing up for subscriber summer. And your support helps us make the show. So whether you're a $5 patron or you're a $20 annual patron, it helps. It makes a difference. It helps us be there for you and tons of other people. And you get tons more stuff, tons more to listen to or to choose your favorites from, build playlists from, or just listen all night long. And you could sign up at sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. If you sign up as an annual subscriber before the end of April, you get 16% off your annual subscription. That sale ends at the end of April, so do not miss out on that. That's a great deal. So sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron, sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron, sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. All right, everybody. It is time for the Sleepy Supporter Zone, the one part of the podcast I need you to hear. It's where I pop my peas. If you please, I thank the listeners who supported the sponsors, supported the show, so the show could come out free twice a week. And I do want you to know, if you cannot afford to support the show or the sponsors, do not worry. We've done surveys. You don't. If you can't afford to support the show, you don't need to. It'll be here for you because we have a lot of listeners. That means that there is a large number of listeners in a position to either support the show or support the sponsors. So don't worry about it. Like I've heard from some people, and I just want you to know, don't worry about it. We're here for you. That's why I do things like the Sleepy Supporter Zone. So pressure off. You can spread the word about the show if you feel like you need to do something, though. I want to thank Steve, who was the first Apple Podcast paid subscriber I heard from. Thank you so much for supporting the show on Apple Podcasts, Steve. And yeah, there's tons of ways to support the show. If you take a free trial from a sponsor, support the show directly. If you don't want to do either one of those things, but you still want the podcast to come out for free twice a week, and you want to give me your feedback, you can fill out the survey at sleepwithmepodcast.com/survey and let me know about it there. But yeah, I appreciate it, and I appreciate people like Steve who not only supported the show, but let me know about it. Thanks, Steve. The second part of the Sleepy Supporter Zone is you getting the support you need right now. If you're having a tough time, there's links to resources, international resources you could connect with right now. It's also about being a part of community, being a part of positive change, not just saying Black Lives Matter, not just saying stop AAPI hate, not just saying support Ukraine, but taking action and learning more. There's links to resources where you could do that right in our show notes. And one of the things we're doing as a community is raising money and building hygiene kits for the Midnight Mission in Los Angeles for people experiencing homelessness. You could use the links in our show notes to take part. Please do so. We'd love it. And that's the... into the Sleepy Supporter Zone. Mystery Bard. A lot of people help out on the show. Who are they?
Chris Posty Poster Son sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes. Carl W. the Legend. Also edits episodes. Ashley, Kenny, Scotty, Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at Astound are on the website. I am the Mystery Bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at jonathanmann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support dear Scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. Rusty Biscuit, Lois, Anna like banana. Leah does the transcripts.
Thanks, Mystery Bard. Don't forget, get your sleep phones if you're looking for the most comfortable way to listen to Sleep With Me. Sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleep phones and use Sleep With Me at checkout to get $5 off. Thanks, everybody. And what do you say we slow it down and get on with the show? Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do with a bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. What I'm going to attempt to do, though, is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever is keeping you awake. It could be thoughts on your mind, like things you're thinking about. So thoughts, thoughts that you're thinking about. So thinking stuff. So thoughts, it could be feelings, anything you're feeling physically that's coming up for, like feeling like physical sensations or emotions that are there related to those thoughts. And sorry, my brain is literally... I guess this is probably relatable stuff, but as I was trying to talk, I'm not kidding, what my brain just popped into my head while I'm trying to open this podcast and be there for you. My brain literally said, I guess I can't quote literally, But what my brain just said to me was, hey, do you think you could use find and replace to replace one space with 3 spaces throughout a whole thing? But in this specific program that's not a word processor, I won't say the name of the program. My brain said it, and I said, do you realize I said, I don't, I said, well, that could solve something for us. You're right. And I do believe it's possible in a word processor. Is it possible within this app? I don't know. But probably I'm trying to introduce a sleep podcast, not the best time to talk about it. And my brain said, but it's related to it's tangentially related to the podcast. And I say, I don't know if it's tangentially related. I would say barely related. It's probably tangentially related to the podcast. You're right. But right now is not the time, because what I was trying to tell the listeners is no matter what you're thinking about, how you're feeling physically or emotionally or whatever else is coming up for you, it could be, changes in time, temperature, routine. You could have something coming up. I mean, you could be facing a larger find and replace conundrum other than what you say. Now, don't worry, I'll explain I'll try to lay it out. Hopefully we'll have time for a tangent where I can explain why my brain's contemplating this at the wrong time. But whatever it is, I mean, the reason I share all that and the reason I just shared that, what popped in my head, is because I don't want you to feel alone. And sometimes I don't say it this directly, but being alone in the deep, dark night, even if you're in the room with somebody else, I guess that's weird, but it can feel lonely being alone. Or you could feel alone and lonely even though you're not alone, because the other person might be sleeping fine, or maybe they're sleeping in another room, or maybe you got your dog there, or maybe whatever, but it's not easy. Or trying to explain it to somebody that doesn't quite get it, that can be lonely too. You say, okay, why don't you try to, have you tried to rub milk on it? Rub milk? Oh yeah, that's what my grandmother used to do. Rub milk on what? Because I was having trouble. Oh no, it's drink warm milk. And, oh no, maybe it wasn't. I think she would, doesn't that sleep podcaster tell people to dip their elbows in milk? No, he uses that as a metaphor though for the kind of advice. Well, that's what worked for my nana. It's warm milk though. Warmer than lukewarm. But obviously you don't want, nobody wants to, it can't be too warm. So you just got to make sure you test it, but don't test it with your elbows, even though that may be the best thing to test it with because your elbows are maybe slightly denser, but I would still just test it with a finger first. Also, I've never thought about, for the most part, let's not talk about cleanliness of elbows. Okay, do you realize, sorry, I was trying to make a metaphor about, people can't relate. It can feel, you say, okay, maybe I'll try that one day. And I don't know if you're like me and you tried stuff like that because you said, well, I'll try anything, right? I'm willing to try anything to get some sleep here. Even trying to find the perfect, even trying to find the emotional thing to warm up milk, to dip my elbows in, because for some of us that takes, you say, the emotional wherewithal, and to say, well, I'm going to warm up some milk. I'm going to find some saucers. No, not a good idea. I actually have ramekins because I make this specific thing occasionally in those. So I do actually have access to ramekins, which I'm not positive. Now I guess they aren't the right diameter. That would have been my go-to though. I guess bowls, probably the best thing to dip. Is there such a thing as cross-elbow milk contamination? And then the person you work with or whatever, they said, so did you try dipping your elbows in milk? Yeah, but it caused a lot of weeping. Oh, did you cry over spilled milk? No. Though eventually I did later. But I had to you probably don't, it was very emotionally taxing trying to get myself to figure out, and then microwave and then test it. And then I didn't actually complete the task of, By the time then somebody was, then right when I went to look and dip my elbow in milk, I did it where the window that looks out of my neighbor's place, and they saw it. So I don't know if I may never sleep. It'll be a while until I move. That'll be good. So maybe you could relate to that. And a normal person can't. That's why I make the show, because I've been there. And that can be a lonely place to be. Weeping over non-spilt milk that you're trying to warm to the right temperature to tempt something out of the box, we'll say in a kind way, to fall asleep. We say kiss your shoulders or dip your, we do joke about that. And you could try it. I'm sure that, I guess probably not. You say, I don't know if milk's good for your elbows. I'd say maybe it's good for your skin, but probably not because you're going to wipe it off pretty quick. There's another thing. If you're a scientist in school looking in some sort of, I don't know if that would be, if you're an epidermal science, and if you're an epidermist, I don't know if that's a thing. I guess we won't talk about floating prams in this episode, but until later. But if you dip that would be interesting to you don't have to credit me, but I would love a shout out. You say milk rate of milk absorption via elbow. And I would love it if you were having to defend your thesis. They say, what made you curious about how much milk an elbow can absorb over a time period? And why did you do the experiments at different temperatures? Oh, it's not a well-known fact or a well-known piece of advice to dip your milks in elbows to fall asleep. It's actually a metaphor, but about things you'd be willing to try to go to sleep that might even work. But it's more a metaphor about advice people give people that can't sleep. But then the person that made it up said, well, I'm curious about that though. And you could use any kind of milk. I'd say unsweetened, almond. Oh, I'd say, here's the thing. I'll just say it right now. I'd say top 5 milks to dip my elbows in. Oat milk coming in at number 1. Coconut milk, I'd say at a close second. Oh boy, after that, maybe I don't know, after that, is there a hemp milk? I think there is hemp milk. I'd say, give me some hemp milk. Let me try some hemp milk for dipping. That's 3. 4, maybe almond milk. 5, I don't know. After that, I started crying at before, trying, I was weeping before that. But I'd say at the for the love of science, maybe they'd say for the love of science. That's why did you decide to do your thesis? Really? For the love of science. That's why. There's a long meandering story related to it, but it's really because I loved looking into it. And I'd say, okay. And what did you discover? That dipping in your elbows in milk is probably not a good way to fall asleep. We got that covered. 2, yeah, we've discovered we discovered all those facts about absorption and those kind of things, which you can see in my spreadsheets here, presented in a, visual way. I don't know how. Even got an infographic, one of those long ones. And also, did you know this person's trying to introduce a sleep podcast and we're all in his imagination? That's for the love. That was what made me say for the love of science. Oh, really? Yeah. So, that's why I make the show. So I'm glad you're here. So, whatever's keeping you awake, I'm here to help because you deserve a good night's sleep. Really, really, that is important to me because I've been there. Because I can relate to how it feels. And even if I don't know exactly what you're going through or how it feels, if I can't relate to it, I'm pretty sure there's someone out there listening right now who can, and they're nodding their head right now. Because even if they haven't been in the exact same thing, they've gone through something like that. And I don't know if that helps. Maybe it doesn't, but that's why I make the show, is because me and all the other regular listeners, we know how it feels. When you're nodding your head along as someone tells you, no, seriously, Or maybe it was honey. Maybe she dips her elbows in honey. I don't know. Let me call. Well, oh no, she's, yeah, but maybe try honey or Demerara sugar or whatever that kind. You see, no, I'm not, well, honey might not be bad. I mean, if I lived in a tub or something, even then it wouldn't be a good idea. Nothing sticky, please. Even if it worked, I don't think I could pull that off. Because you can't see your elbow. The problem is you can't see your elbows. That's what was discovered in the imaginary thesis I just talked about. They call that the elbow dipping conundrum or something, whatever. I don't know. So that's why their budget spiked. They said, well, I need helpers. Like it takes a team. It takes a team in a village to properly do scientific experiments based on dipping your elbows in different things. Whether it be, because then you'd say, well, what type of honey? Oh boy. So I know how it feels. So the other thing is you deserve a good night's sleep. That's really, even if you never listen to the show again, sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you has other sleepy stuff you could check out. But, like the thing is that you deserve a good night's sleep. You deserve a bedtime you could feel neutral about or look forward to. And if I can't provide that, I hope you find something that can. Because you're like, if you get the rest you need, your life is going to be more manageable. It's going to be better. And that means the world we live in is going to be a better place. So that is important. The other things to know. Oh, this show is a show you just barely listen to. You just kind of barely listen. You go, I mean, clearly, come on, let's not joke around. I mean, this is not, you'd say, there's some level of coherence in here. It just doesn't it makes sense, but it's senseless. So a lot of people just barely listen. Like they'll go, like the regular listeners say, there he goes again, another tangent. How many tangents can a sleep podcast have about dipping your elbows and stuff? But Scoots has got them. And I'd say there's a limit. I mean, how many liquids are there? I mean, come on, let's be honest. There's an unlimited, not unlimited, but nearly limitless teas. I mean, but like how many things you go into a boba place? You mean, like you say, what do you got, 1,100 drinks in here? I mean, luckily I go in with a teen, so I just say, what should I get? And then, even then, so, I don't know, but now I'm just thinking about going, would you have any elbow-sized containers? I'd like mine in a bowl, please. Boba and elbows. That'll be in the my next thesis for my next imaginary, whatever they call that thing. I don't even know. It's not even a thesis, whatever it is. So, you deserve a good night's sleep. The show is something you just barely listen to it, just like an out of focus picture, or like someone you're trying to humor. I mean, like if you were taught, you'd say, really? Yep. Okay. Boba. Brown sugar boba. Yep. So that's the other thing. Also, there's no pressure to fall asleep. I'm going to be here for over an hour. So whether you're awake or asleep, you have plenty of time because I'm here to keep you company, to be your friend, your boar friend, your boar bae, your boar sib, your boar bud, your boar bestie, your neighbor, your borbur, your friend in the deep dark night, to keep you company while you drift off, not to put you to sleep. There's people listening who can't sleep, and I'm here to the very end, or people that need a break during the day. So that's kind of what works about the show is I'm here whether you need to listen to me or not. If you need company, I'm here to keep you company. If you need the idea that I'm keeping you company, but you don't need to pay attention to it and you fall asleep, that's what that works. Or if you wake back up and you need a reset, that's what I'm here for. Or some people listen all night long. So I'm here. That's what I'm here for. So those are a couple of things. So structure of the show also throws people off. It's very specific while we make the show the structure we do, but you could adjust. But the show starts off with a greeting, friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So you feel seen and welcome. And you say, I might check that podcast out. And I probably say something silly. This time I was trying to set up the floating pram that Baby Oso, or Baby Grogu, as they call it, Baby Oso. I mean, that's, of course, I mean, definitely this episode says Baby Grogu. So I said, okay, I get it. But Oso is the nickname, Oso is my nickname for Baby Grogu. Because no longer known as the child. So, it's a loving name. Oh, so cute. I mean, that's what it stands for. Oh, so sweet. So, oh, so floaty in a pram. So, so that's the teaser we call it, the start of the show. Then, or the greeting. Then there's support, because a lot of work was in the show, and I want it to be free, and that's what makes it possible. Or paying optional. If you don't like the ads, you could support the show. But if you want it free, you get it for free. That's great. Then there's a long meandering intro, which I think we're like 15 minutes into already. That is separate from the support. I do not want you to miss out on this if you're new. So that's why I repeated every intro. It's a show within a show meant to ease you into bedtime. I mean, who knew we would be covering what we covered in this past 15 to 20 minutes? And it's 15 to 20 minutes long. Looks like we're over 15 minutes. I just looked. I have no idea. The teaser is also long. These are good things in a sleep podcast. But yeah, the intro is meant to ease you into bedtime, introduce new people to podcasts. But regular listeners, other than the 2% that skip it and the small percentage of people that fall asleep really fast, which we're so happy for them, I mean, they probably feel like they're in a floating pram. What if they were in a floating? They said, "What are those cup holders in your floating pram?" Well, not exact. They're liquid holders. They're like a cup. They're like a cup actually. They have a drainage at the bottom, which is great, and they have a high lip made of silicone. Because when I'm in my pram. I mean, because if you had a floating, I mean, I guess I was in Wally. Like, if you had a floating pram, then you might as well use it like a human, like all humans. And you say, when I'm in it, I like to, if I encounter a situation, there's a button on here. And when I encounter a situation, then I need some soothing. I choose a liquid. Well, the liquids I have stored on board. And it, heats the liquid up to a nice temperature that's warmer than tepid, but not hot. And then I can secretly dip my elbows in there, and no one's wiser, other than they say, "Wow, you're so chill." And I'd say, "Yeah, what's your secret? Dipping my elbows in liquid in a floating pram, man. What else would it be?" What was I talking about? I went into a fugue state, or the fugue inventor state. Structure the show. So the intro goes on and on and on. Because a lot of regular listeners, it's part of their bedtime routine. And it doesn't have to be that way for you if you're new. Just see how it goes. Like I said, you could skip it. But more people pay to listen to only intros than anything else for the show. So that just tells me, and I would have never known that until, that the listeners that support the show and the interaction I have with them. So that's just like, I don't know. So I just don't want you to miss out on it, because sometimes people are like, "Oh, this is just one big ad," or "When does the show start?" And it's like, well, it's always never started. So that's what the intro is, because most people, or just what I've experienced for myself and what I've read, is that having a bedtime routine and a wind down is what really works. And it's what makes bedtime special for me. And I mean, what I mean by that is, I have different nights. I have a different wind down routine, depending on if my daughter's over or not. But like last night I didn't have a complete routine, but I do have like certain, whatever they call them, anchors. I don't know, where I pet my dog. Last night she wanted to go to bed even earlier than I was scheduled. So she likes it, and I wrap her in blankets, and I pet her, and I say, "What a good dog." And stuff like that. That's part of my routine. Then I do other stuff, and then I'm reading Tommy and Tuppence from Agatha Christie. This one's like more kind of like, I guess it's kind of a novel, but it's kind of short stories, so it's really fun. So yeah, it's Yeah, so that makes me when I have a book like that, and I read a lot of different stuff, but makes it bedtime feel better, even with how I feel about it, the other feelings. It kind of, I said, at least it feels neutral sometimes. So so hopefully the intro could be part of your wind down routine, or you develop your own wind down routine without the intro. Then there's support again, so the show could be free. And then there's our episode tonight. We'll be covering season 3, episode 1 of the Mandalorian, and talking about that and maybe some facts that came up on the show and stuff like that. And then there's the thank yous at the end of the show. So that's the structure of the show. That's why I make the show. I'm really glad you're here. I really appreciate your time and you coming by. And I really hope I can help you fall asleep. Thanks again for coming by. And here's how we're able to do it for you for free twice a week. Sleep With Me is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive helps you compare direct auto rates from a variety of companies so you can find a great one, even if it's not with them. Quote today at Progressive.com to find a rate that works with your budget. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. All right, everybody, Scoots here. It's time for the return of the Mandalorian. And, oh boy, it's been so long that this old cracked iPad of mine, this little old iPad of mine, I'm going to let it barely can shine, that I just used for this stuff is, don't think this is going to be the right password, but it hasn't even it was offloaded. But we'll see if it works. I'm not confident it's going to work. Oh, boy. So, yeah, this is a little user error with Scoots. I'm trying to get into Disney Plus, but I don't on my... I did reach out to try to get access to Mandalorian. I mean, I already paid for Disney Plus, but to try to get it early, I wasn't able to do that, but I didn't really try. I mean, I just emailed the... I don't think it would have made a difference because of the schedule anyway, but usually when we've gotten access to stuff, it's taken me contacting somebody and then them doing it because, okay, let's try this one. I don't know if I can copy and paste from my phone to an old iPad. Let's find out. Oh, it worked. Wow. Well, does it work to get us in there, though? Oh, we're in. Oh, no, it doesn't have any profiles. Well, that's interesting. Let's see. I don't think it's going to work, but... huh. Okay. Sorry, everybody. This is kind of sleepy stuff it's weird, though. But so I did... no pin. I don't know. I may be signing up. That's strange. Oh my gosh, I got to put a birthday in? Okay. Oh no. I did get in. I don't know if this is an actual account or I just signed. This is like when I'm like, hey, but whatever. Here's account. Well, who knows? This may be we'll see if this works, eh? That's what we'll see. Okay, it does look like it's working. Let's see here. Okay, we're getting a download, but we could always stream it. But I was just saying, yeah, I did try. I said, well, maybe we could get some media access, and I looked up on the contacts, but I think I tried before too, but it usually doesn't work if you're just a regular podcaster and you're emailing their general media inbox. You know, they have, obviously leading up to the show, a lot bigger things to deal with. So with the other places that we've gotten access, it's usually been... when we had worked with a PR agency, the PR agency would then reach out to the PR agency for the show or the company. So it's not but I said, well, there's a chance. Actually, to be honest, not to go on a continued tangent, but thinking of Baby Oso Grogu, it was like a growth opportunity. So in a sense, it's a good thing because I remember I looked it up 3 different times. And then there was like the show's inbox and then the overall one. I think the contact may have been the same person anyway. But I said, why, like I didn't want to get outside of my comfort zone and even send the email. So it was a win. And I don't know if they made these episodes available early to anybody anyway. And I could have done more because I could have contacted other people that I know that cover shows and asked them who to contact. So again, this is all my arena. I guess I was just making idle chatter while I was looking it up. But we're talking about chapter 17, season 3, episode 1, The Apostate. And let's look up what apostate means to get it started, because that's like some serious vocabulary. Apostate is a person who renounces a religious or political belief or principle. So actually, there's a little bit of what is an apostate person? It's the person rejecting it by one who once professed the faith and now publicly rejects it. So this is really interesting because I did not know apostate meant. And I had this, that really does say, that really is a big hint as to maybe where things are going. Because the show is The Mandalorian, the episode is The Apostate, and someone like me, I would have easily gotten the two. Don't get it twisted, as Rihanna says. So that's interesting. One who undertakes apostasy is known as an apostate, according to Wikipedia. Apostatizing. Apologies from apostatizers, embracing its disaffiliation, abandonment, or renunciation by a person. Undertaking it is called that, renunciation and criticism of, or opposition to. So this is that like, holy cow, I'm like pumped now. I mean, I was wanting to look that up, right? But wow, I mean, that is cool. Cool title for episode, especially episode 1. And cool because, we'll see as the season unfolds, but it makes me even more excited of like what threads are going to be pulled at here, right? Okay, so I got it starting. And it starts with a recap, IG-88, or IG, what is it? IG something. And that season, then Karga and Mando, the baby, the classroom, the blue, Bo-Katan's crew, and then Grogu, the mask comes off, or the helmet comes off, Mandalorian says, you're out. So again, this is where I thought the apostate meaning was, but that is not the case. I guess I don't believe that the Mandalorian is the apostate. I mean, could the Mandalorian become an apostate? Could the Mandalorian be apostatized? But I guess for some reason, I thought it was a person on the outside trying to get back in. But it's a person who was on the inside, on the outside, and saying, I'm staying on the outside. So, wow. I mean, it really, I guess I'm just stunned because it's giving more and more meaning to, like, the performances and the body language. And, that's how you know you're in a good storyteller's hands. So, okay, we got the recap. Navarro, Bo-Katan, only one way, child helmet off, no more. How can I atone? According to Creed, got to bathe in the waters beneath the mind of Mandalore. This is the way. But it's all gone. Then we have sound effects in the background while Lucasfilm and the Star Wars titles come up. Of working, and eventually it becomes clear it's some sort of forge-based activity, sound effects, so Lucasfilm sound effects, Star Wars, forge action, liquid into water. I was going to look this up, so yeah, let's pause it here. Okay, there's only theories on what the liquid is that's being poured into the liquid there. So, but some people are like, maybe it's some sort of, maybe there's no reason to have a theory. And maybe they're like, maybe it's just a normal part of the forge process. So I guess we don't have an answer there, but that was part of it. But yeah, so the armorer is working. We see the symbol on the back wall a few times. There's flames on the forge. There's a circular piece of metal, Beskar, I would assume. Beskar, I would presume. Maybe even the Beskar from season 1. I just read some of the comics that were from season 1, kind of as a prep for this, and that kind of helped refresh part of it, but they don't have the whole season 1 out in comic books yet either. So, but yeah, then it's like some sort of dome or a helmet. It goes into the water. And we got some welding. We've got some, what is that called? Where you, soldering, electronicking, painting, airbrush. You see, is that an airbrushed Mandalorian helmet? 'Tis an airbrushed. That's how we get that. We get that sweet, sweet color. Wait a second. I do have to rewind it because this came up like a few months ago. I don't believe that they like, so little continuity thing. I mean, I don't know. I've never worked with metal before or paints, just to be honest. But according to my speculation in a non-Mandalorian episode, you should reuse primer. Oh, maybe there is primer on there. Okay. It's possible there's primer on there before the painting, but, is my helm primed? I don't know. So then, so there's drumming. A lot of stuff I want to look up, though. Okay, so we have the helmet, the symbol in the background. We see it a few times. There's drums, and then there's these flags that come out. That's another thing. Let me look that up. I don't know what they're called. Are those called, when you're in a kind of a royal thing and you have the sticks? I think they're called something else, and maybe we'll find out. Okay, Mandalorian flag meaning. Let's see if I Google. Let's see. I don't know what year. Mandalorian symbol. No, that's the mythosaur. Mandalorian symbols and meetings. This is from April 2022. It's 2023 though, right? Let's see. That's 2015. That's just the mythosaur. Okay, this one's from Games Radar. It's from 2023, March 1st. Just see if there's anything. Games Radar, Bradley Russell, 9 days ago. What is the Way? The Way is the Way Mandalore, which is kind of like a religion. I'm totally paraphrasing. It's also shorthand for the rules in the creed. And there's different sub groups of the Mandalorian. So Children of the Watch is Mando's sub. The Creed and the Way are kind of the same, or very much that says. The rules, they can't take their helmet off, help other Mandalorians, and if you got the Darksaber, you can lead all of Mandalore. Okay, never remove your helmet. Okay. Another one is that you have to protect the great. So this is like, I'm just trying to find if there's anything about these flags, but, Children of the Watch and the Armorer. Din Djarin is a child of the Watch. Bo-Katan explains Djarin's part of a more hardline group, that broke away. Children of the Watch, want to reestablish the ancient order of the Way. But what that entails is open for debate. Could it be isolationist, exceptionalism? How does the armor fit in? She's not just there to make the Mandalorian's armor, but to teach Mando and the proxy, the audience, about the Way. Is she the leader? We don't know, but she holds some sway. We still don't know a lot about it. Okay, and that was it for that one. So I guess we'll just try to pause and see what we can see. So there's one, two, okay. Oh, wait a second. So, oh boy, got to rewind it. There's other ones outside, but there's only 2 being carried. Oh, banners, like a banner person, right? That's what they're called. Okay, so one is a blue one with the mythosaur, but then the other one, it looks like a stick with red on it, red blobs kind of. So I have no idea what that is, but maybe that's the one, the Children of the Watch symbol. I don't know. Also the drums, and then, so, okay, so what's happening? So the armorer was in a cave, and the drums start playing. The armorer's been working on this helmet, and she carries it out of the cave in a procession. There's drumming. Pretty sure I can see drummers in the background coming out of the cave. There's 2 banner people, and they're coming outside of a cave to a gathering of other Mandalorians on kind of a beach. And there's a child who's standing there in the water, kind of knee deep, about a little bit less than knee deep. There's other banners outside. There's also, it looks like a reverse 7. What is that? Learning more every day. So, yeah, the child's sitting there. I was like, is this a flash forward or flash back? There hasn't been any dialogue yet. There's no dialogue for another 5 seconds because I just paused it. The armorer presents the helmet to the child and says, I swear on my name and the names of the ancestors. And the child repeats that, I swear on my name and the name of my ancestors that I shall walk the way of the Mandalore. And the child repeats it, and the words of the creed shall be forever forged in my heart. We see other shots of Mandalorians kind of watching, presumably, because they have their helmets on. Now the helmet goes on the child's head, and there's like a sealing sound. And this is the way. This is the way, the boy says. This is the way, everybody says. So the armor says it, the child says this is the way, then everyone says this is the way. Then, so this part is, I don't know if it's super important, but the armor dips a bowl in the water. From this moment on, I shall never remove my helmet. Not if the water was going to get poured or on the child's head, but before the child can answer, you say, holy Jurassic Park, a giant turtle comes out of the water. And I mean giant, and the turtle does not seem to see so well. So everybody says, you got to get out of the way. This turtle can't see. It's super giant. It's also a turtle that has a tendency to snap. And so they say, grab all the get out of the way, everybody. This turtle's, can't see it. It's just snapping. And so a lot of the Mandalorians are trying to, what do you call that? Herd the turtle or something. And some fly, they try to say, hey, what about your shell? We'd prefer that you just leave. We don't want any kind of soup, we just want to finish our ceremony. We're about to have the kid drink or get water poured on its head. And this turtle is very resilient. It says it's very, prehistoric too. And the whole team of Mandalorians, they try everything. They try, what do they call those? Their things with their arms, their harpoons or whatever, to try to rope, a little bit of roping. And the turtle says, I'll rope a dope you. The turtle even rolls over at one point while people are using their ropes on it. That doesn't work. Then there's a lot of Mandalorians helping other Mandalorians, including the armorer makes a move. And, here goes the armorer running. Very good runner in sand, dives. It's true, great if not getting caught in the water. Helps somebody up, says, hey, let me help you up. Then the armorer gets knocked down by the turtle. And the child, the young person that just got their helmet, goes to the armorer's side Then the kid stands up facing the turtle, and everyone's like, oh no. But then we hear the whistle of the Mandalorian, and that whistle sound, and then we see a ship come along and say, turtle, go home. It has one of those turtle repulsors. Says, please, turtle, go back to your, I think turtles live in a nest, even prehistoric turtles. So the turtle goes back to its nest, and we realize, oh, it's not a flashback or a flash forward. Present time, Mandalorian lands, the canopy opens, then Grogu pops up, Baby Oso, and it says the Mandalorian. And we get the opening sound, the Apostate, which is even more awesome. So then the Mandalorian goes into the armorer's cave. We see the mythosaur, the armorer's work, and Grogu, Baby Oso's with, and the armor says, you removed your helmet. And what's worse, you chose to do it. And you're not a Mandalorian anymore. And Baby Oso, Grogu, because Grogu's a teen now, I think. Creed teaches us redemption, Mandalorian says. Not possible. We don't have a homeworld. No more redemption. Armor's almost kind of trying to ignore him. And Mandalorian says, what if the mines of Mandalore still exist? Nope, gone in the purge. And the Mandalorian pulls out this green piece of thing with an inscription, like metal melted into it, green crystal, and says, what about this? Isn't this Mandalorian? And the armor says, okay. And Grogu's sitting at the table as well. Where'd you come upon this? Jawas. They got it from a traveler who claimed to have visited Mandalore. And this relic only proves that the entire surface was crystallized by fusion rays. The whole surface. Grogu says, oh no. Looks at Mando. The traveler got this. So perhaps it's not as bad as it seems. And if I visit, so basically this is like the season goal here, which I'll just sum up, which is sweet because it's like, basically if I go home, back to our home and take a bath, like then all will be forgiven. So I love that because he's with the child. His whole goal, maybe for the season or the first half of the season, I don't know, to take a bath. And maybe give Grogu a bath. Though Grogu's looking pretty clean, so must have had a bath. So mission, take a bath, episode 1 at least. And, if a traveler can do it, maybe I can. And we get a lot of good looks at Oso face. Mandalorian has to bring proof, though, that he bathed in beneath the mines of Mandalore. A decree of exile will be lifted, and I will be redeemed by the creed. This is the way. And first, the armor looks at Grogu, who's making sounds, then looks at Mandalorian. This is the way, I guess. I guess it is. Doesn't sound like that, though. Sounds a little bit more nonplussed. Like, okay, if you can do it, that's good. That is a fact. So Mandalorian stands up. He does. I think. Oh, let's rewind it because I said, did Mandalorian do a Picard or did somebody do a Picard shirt move here? Let's see. Okay. So this is the way. So the armor stands up. Armor did it. A brief one. A Picard or Riker shirt pulled down. If you watch Star Trek TNG, then I'll see you again. The Mandalorian says. And then we have like a little bit of an effect. Then we're in some sort of hyperspace tunnel. I did want to look this up, but there is one reveal here. So they're going through this. Let's look up. I probably looked it up before, but I don't understand hyperspace in Star Wars. Let's look up that HYPER space Star Wars. Okay, hyperspace Star Wars. Okay, yeah, there are explanations of what's happening. But we don't need to get into that now because I'm sure the episode will get to it. But while they're going through hyperspace, Grogu sees these giant beings like at the window. So, and I don't know if you remember Finding Nemo, right? It is a little bit similar to that because they're like whale size, like kind of squid whale combo. So it just reminded me of the what was that, the Pacific Coast Highway or whatever, drift? I can't remember what they call it. Let's just look up one of these articles. So hyperspace, this is on the Wikipedia on fandom, StarWars.fandom.com. Okay, alternate dimension that facilitates expeditious interstellar travel. So hyperspace is an alternate dimension that can be reached by traveling at faster than the speed of light, hyperdrive. You can travel through hyperspace lanes across a great distance, and that enables like a thing. And let's see what else we have here. High Republic, hyperspace was not truly understood. It was still regarded as a mystery even during the Imperial era. It was at any rate a dimension of space-time, alternative of real space, hyperspace. Normal laws of space and time don't apply. And you could use the stasis field to slow the passage of time on board. So that way you only age the same rate as the rest of the galaxy. Molecular displacement by breaking the speed of light. Each point in real space is associated with a unique point in hyperspace. And all the adjacent points in real space were adjacent in hyperspace as well. And so each thing in reality had a shadow counterpart in hyperspace. So that's kind of how you're able to find your way, I guess. But most of the other stuff about hyperspace is a mystery. But you do have to use precise calculations. That's what Han Solo told Luke Skywalker. Use hyperdrive, hypermatter, that thrusts a starship into hyperspace while preserving the ship's mass and energy profile. You kind of jump from a specific point to another without having to travel directly between them. And you have to have a hyperdrive engine. If you have a hyperdrive failure, you can't jump. And if you could fall out of hyperspace or cut power to it. And the Galactic Empire even used interdictor vessels to disable hyperspace capabilities. And it couldn't discombobulate you a bit. Large objects in real space cast mass shadows in hyperspace. So that's why you got to be very precise. And there existed predetermined hyperspace routes which interstellar travelers could take. And people are constantly trying to map it out even better, to move faster through new ways. Upon entering hyperspace, the ship appeared to accelerate dramatically, a phenomenon known as pseudomotion. And hyperspace could be traversed using navigation computers, force-sensitive navigators, or jump-by-jump journeys. So I guess that's a little bit about hyperspace. I mean, that's more than I knew up until now. So they're going through a hyperspace tunnel. Grogu's watching, sees the beings, as I said. Are they whales? There's great big music. And then Grogu. So Grogu's got a little dome to look out. But then Grogu goes through the dome and says, I want to snuggle with Mando. This really happens too. Mandalorian is asleep. Grogu is basically like me. I'm going to look out the window for a while, sees the whales, but I kind of think they're cool. Can't quite read Grogu's reaction. They're like way, 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 way bigger than ship. I guess I would say that if that's the case, are they in hyperspace world or are they in the other world? But then Grogu goes and cuddles with Mando, like snuggles up to take a nap. Eventually they exit hyperspace and they go to Navarro, which is cloudy, and console beeps. And we hear the thing say, hey, welcome to Navarro. That's how we know. I haven't seen it come up on the screen yet, but I had it written down. We get a nice sky view. Yeah, welcome to Navarro, independent trade anchor on the Outer Rim Hyperlane port. What's your purpose of your visit? Here to meet my friend, my old friend. We see Grogu checking out Navarro. Really great effects. We see the arch that we know so well. And things are hopping in Navarro. So Navarro is flourishing, I would say. There's a lot of yellow to give it some extra color. It's bustling, too. Its market area is bustling. There's even some sort of protocol-style droid, which we'll look up in a minute, who's like just promoting like a public relations droid. There's chefs, there's pets, there's wildlife, there's trees. There's a large array of beings. There's selling going on. Yeah, there's the C3PO style droid, but in a kind of like an off-white kind of ceramic color. There's children, there's buskers or like a paid band playing music. Grogu checks that out. We see the IG droid statue. And the Mandalorian walks up to it and says, look at this, man. He walks around cobblestone streets. She says, Grogu, you remember your friend, IG-11? Is that what it is? Let's see. So Grogu says, huh? Then Grief Karga says, Mando, what's up? But yeah, let's look up, C-3PO is built by Anakin Skywalker. Etiquette droid, protocol droid, Star Wars character, we know that. 3PO, protocol droid, I guess that's, protocol droid specializes in translation, etiquette, cultural customs, humanoid in appearance, and they can be eccentric and fussy. 4LOM this is from Wikipedia, is a protocol droid, from Empire TC-14. That's different than an astromech droid. These are a few of my favorite droids. But I don't know if they're droids, but so Grief Karga is now Chief Magistrate or Grand Magistrate. I don't know. Let's see what we got here. But it's really cool watching Grogu just watch things. Street performers, IG statue, head magistrate. I don't know. We'll get in a second. He says Mando, but I saw the cobblestones. But he has like a long like cape, and he has two cape carrying droids or bots. Probably not droids, just because I don't know if you'd use like I don't know if a droid has like a bigger processor, right? I mean, if I know Grief Karga, then I would say that those are probably have some sort of hidden purpose, right? That they, like, I'm surprised we didn't see him later in the episode. But he says, holy cow, I heard you were back. Don't believe it myself. Magistrate Karga, hi, Magistrate Karga. They do a handshake, happy to see one another. Come on, catch up. So they head out, the three of them. Mando says, what's going on here? It looks great. Yeah, we've done a lot with it. Citizens have been doing a lot. Look at this. Then he has an office chair that Grogu's spinning around in. We're an official trade spur of the Hydean Way. Congratulations. What's the Hydean Way, though? Let's look at that up. Okay, Hydean Way is a super hyper route established by somebody, let's see, Freya Kalea. It began in Bondian in the corporate sector and ran inwards to the core worlds and back out to the southern outer rim. And so I guess it's just a It's a Rima trade route, confluence of the Hiding Way and the Rima trade route. Yeah, I guess it's got a lot of important points in history. It's appeared in a lot of different things. Cool. They also have a construction boom going on. Grief Karga says, or High Magistrate Karga, sorry. Their belters are mining asteroid fields at the edge of the system. A lot of money here in Navarro to be made. And he says, I could set you up with a prime track in the hot springs, right by the hot springs. You and the little one could settle down. Hang up your blaster, live off the fat of the land. He goes, by the way, his name's Grogu. Oh, sure, if you say so. Carl Weathers is really good. He says, anyway, look at this parcel I got already set aside for you. Talk about, and he goes, I appreciate the offer, but I have matters to look after. And he goes, oh, I'm confused. I thought you were done with your mission. You wanted to hang with me, but you're still running around with this critter. Mando stops Grogu spinning. He goes, it's complicated. I finished my quest, but he came back to me. I removed my helmet. Now I'm an apostate. And he goes, yeah, you should definitely stay with us then. Grogu also force grabs some Skittles or something off of Grief Karga's desk. Here you'd be landed gentry. Then another protocol type droid comes in. High Magistrate. He goes, not now. He goes, there's someone to see you. Now, wow, by the way, it's pirates. Pirates in the Courtyard. Remember that musical, Pirates in the Courtyard? Was that in Pirates of Penzance? So we got another protocol droid, a third one. So we got a lot of them on this planet. So there's all these pirates. Who was this person's name? Beef something? There's something. Let's see. Stand aside. They're trying to get into the school. Vane. Thought it was Bane, but Vane. He's the head of a crew of pirates. 6 of them, I think, total. I saw 5 at first, but it's 6. They say, come on, let's get a drink. He goes, that's a school. Let's go back to my office and talk. And he goes, well, that's why they won't let me inside. And everybody cracks up. School. And he goes, my boss's treasure, your cut of my boss's treasure built this saloon. Pirate King Gorian Shard. We all know who that is. So why don't you come back to the office? I'll give you a drink. Cool it down. And we'll do a toast to your captain. And they go, no, we're drinking here. Bring us drinks. He goes, it's a school. And the pirate says, not anymore. Now bring us a drink. And we get some shots of Mando's leaning on a tree looking cool. And then High Magistrate Karga says, is there a problem here? And the guy says, not if you serve me a drink. And he goes, no, not at this. This is school. And I get a feeling this guy's going to be in more trouble because he's bragging. He goes, school, huh? His school. And he goes, we used to work for you and cause trouble in this bar. Now it's a school, not acceptable. And then it becomes very like a Western showdown at the school that was once a bar corral. Calls High Magistrate Karga soft, and he says, no, I realize this is still the frontier. Try me. And who's that, Vane or whatever, says, ha. Then we get some classic Western shots, close-ups. See Grogu kind of winks or something, blinks. Everybody's standing ready. But you're not faster than the High Magistrate. So he takes takes the squirt gun away from, and he goes, tell Captain Gorian Shard to, this is no longer for your hanging out. But then the other guys try to make a move. So Grogu says, bye-bye. I'm tagging you out of this game. And then High Magistrate Karga says, hit the road, Vane. V-A-N-E, by the way. And Mando says, sure, that's a good idea. He says, yeah, then they'll know Navarro's respectable. And then he says, clean up out here, droids. He goes, Mando, I need a marshal. He says, what about Dune? He says, well, not around anymore. What happened to Moff Gideon? Got busted by the Republic. So Mandalorian says, he goes, what do you say? Kick it here, man. He goes, put on some stripes, get a stipend. You'll do a great job. He goes, get one from the New Republic. He goes, no. We're going to be independent. He goes, not under my watch. First independent trade anchor in the whole sector. And he goes, Mando says, I can't do it. I have something pressing. Oh, okay. Apologies. Didn't know you're here on business. Everybody can take everything. Buddy takes something with a cup of tea. They can take it. Mando goes, by the way, I need that. He goes, what do you need? He goes, that droid, the IG droid. He goes, IG-11 that was lava. That's a statue. He goes, well, he goes, those are just some parts that were left over. And Mando goes, yeah, well, I need something to go exploring on Mandalore. And they go, plenty of droids, man. You don't need this droid. He goes, let's give it a shot. So then there's First Independent, IG-11. Then there's this music sequence, A Droid I Can Trust, another book I might write. They even put, who's that girl? He's the droid I trust. I don't know why I thought, who's that girl? But, so he gives it a shot. There's, working sequence. He tries to basically jump starts the droid. But the droid goes back to its old programming. This is actually like a kind of a dual sequence. It's kind of action, but it's kind of comedy. It's really well done. And it kind of felt like it had like stop motion in it. I don't know, but, it was cool. And basically, I think the protocol droid stops the IG droid by pushing over a bust of Grief Karga, High Magistrate Karga. So they get to say, now that's using your head. And he goes, that's too big a job, man. You're not going to be able to fix this thing on your own, clearly, if it reverted to its old programming. Because it basically said, I got to take the baby in. Also, Mando football tossed the teen Grogu to Karga. And Grogu's like, great catch. And then they loaded up in a cart. And they go, we got great droidsmiths, by the way, here. So they'll put IG back. So they go to this little tiny door. And Mando goes, are they going to do a good job? He goes, why don't you ask them yourself? Another quality comedy sequence. And then Zalians, and they say, what do you want? These are kind of like little tiny Muppets, which Grogu says so cute. And they say a bunch of things this is where you see how the show succeeds on being consumable by families, but without being really fun for everybody. And I thought this but they can't fix it. They're like, we can't fix the thing. But basically, Grief Karga has to translate for Mandalorian, but we can understand them, so it's even funnier. And they're in a tiny room. And Mando says, it's broken. It's broken. He goes, this one's my friend, not your friend anymore. Can't fix, broken. And then they go, we need a whatever memory chip or something, or mainframe. Poodoo says you should get a new one. It's just so funny. Memory circuit, that's what you need. Can you fix it if you get the memory circuit? Yeah, if I get the memory circuit, I can. And but then Grogu tries to hug these little repair people. They're like, and they say, no, Grogu, they're not a pet. But he's really just holding it like it's a stuffy. No hug. I'm not a stuffy, they say. Bad baby. He's a bad baby. Then Grogu tries one more time. So, but I don't know. Excellent stuff. They get back on the ship. Hope to see you soon. Keep IG-11 safe till I get back with the parts. So mission 2, 1, take a bath. 2, fix a droid. says safe travels. Grogu waves goodbye from his little dome. I don't think they're overdoing it. I don't know what the internet's saying with Grogu's cuteness. It does feel like it's in a good way. It's a throwback with the Muppet. I mean, I don't, and again, I'm not in a place of knowing the difference between Muppets and visual effects, but either way, it to me, it's like it has a feel of that Henson level stuff. So they take off to head somewhere else. We don't know where. Well, what shows up about pirates? First he says, being a Mandalorian is not just about squirt guns. It's about navigating, and you got to know where you're headed next. So you got your hyperspace map and your fuel gauge. So you have to look at those. Oh, and then your proximity sensor, which means that something's here. Warning, pirates. So 3 pirates pull in behind a vast Mandalorian. Yeah, I can't believe you, it was only 4. So it was 5 pirates. The first count I had 5, then I had 6. Pirate King Gorian Shard's men, you're going to answer to them. Mandalorian says, stick to other stuff. Then Grogu buckles up with Mando, or into Mando. And then we get a ship action sequence, which is quality. It don't totally understand the physics of the Mandalorian ship, but I mean, the Mandalorian ship definitely looks way faster and more maneuverable than the other ships. It looks totally like rad. But so the pirates are chasing Mando. They're in an asteroid belt. We even see some of the asteroid mining going on. And Mando basically outmaneuvers them slowly. 1 down right now. But they're chasing. Yeah, we're going to get close. Grogu's having fun like it's a ride. Which are like, maybe a new Star Wars ride. Anyone got eyes on the Mandalorian? So then he manages to like either land or hide on asteroids, which they can't adjust to because either the maneuvering or their ability to guess, so he slowly takes most of the parts out except Vane. At some point he pops up behind the last 3 ships, very much like another, blockbuster movie from the summer, different, but very much like in a sense where you get that same joy. So it's somehow it's like a sequence, how it's going to play out, but you still get to enjoy it, But then there's even one last surprise because he's chasing Vane and he says, bringing the Mandalorian to you, Captain. And then, I don't know, I did not have a chance to look up the voice of the person playing Gorian Shard, but what a voice. Holy cow. But they have Mandalorian locked, Dank Farrik, and we see Gorian Shard, who's very much like a sea captain. We got you. Mando says, I got no quarrel with you. Says, yeah, but you mess with 4 of my team. And then 5 ships with probably $1 billion. Surrender your ship and I'll let you go. And Mandalorian says, never trust a pirate, kid. And he hits the nitrous on the ship and they jump ahead. The big pirate ship looked really cool too. Gorian Shard looks not happy. Then we see an Earth-like planet, which is Kalevala. And it's raining, a lot of sea. This is, wait a second, I missed the thing. It's like a off-world of Mandalore. Let's see, wind whooshing. Another planet in the Mandalorian system. And that's a Mandalorian castle. And it's on the coast, a really nice one. It's got a landing pad. It's got a teal droid, top-of-the-line droid, by the way. The droid kind of looks like a flavor radio from Radio Shack from the 1980s, in a good way. No shade. So Mandalorian hops out, Grogu hops out. Again, mystery thus far on the first watch for me of what was happening. But this is where we get the payoff, that it took me looking up the name, but Mandalorian goes up the stairs from the landing pad. It's kind of marble, concrete, cement. Goes in, we hear like the Spurs sound effect, but instead it's the Mandalorian's boots on this long throne room hall, or like a giant throne room. Very big, some windows, Dinjar and Bo-Katan kicking it. I mean, the body language of this, and there's a relief statue in this thing. There's stained glass windows, but just Bo-Katan's the performance here, of kicking it, it's not just on a throne. Bo-Katan's kicked back on throne, lounging, but as we see in the dialogue, bitter lounging. Also rocking that headband. And, what about your plans to retake Mandalore? The Mandalorian says, I didn't have the dark saber. Somebody else did. Nobody followed me. What about your fleet? They left as mercenaries because they didn't have the dark saber, dude. Do you have the saber? Yeah, my back pocket. Okay, why don't you lead them? Wow, yeah, just I'd say iconic image. You gave up on taking Mandalore, huh? She just takes a breath through her nose, stares at him. Your group gave up on Mandalore before the purge, dude. Where were you? Children of the Watch and all the factions before you fractured and shattered our people. She stares at him bitter face, go home, nothing left. And, you can't see, Mandalorian says, I'm going to Mandalore so I can take a bath, bathe in living waters, be forgiven for my transgressions. She barely moves. You're a fool. Holy cow. This is a really great scene. There's nothing magic about the mines of Mandalore. They supplied Beskar to our ancestors. The rest is superstition. Planet's gone, plundered, dumped on. Mandalorian says, but you said the curse is a lie. Which one is it? If you want to go to the mines, be my guest. But don't, they're beneath the Civic Center in Sundari. And Mandalorian says, thank you. I think he's got some rain on his helmet. He goes, I'll find out if the planet's uninhabitable. And he walks off. She kind of moves something on her hands. She says, goodbye, Dinjar. And he walks off with Grogu, and that's the end of the episode, except for the art, of course, which had 13 pieces of art. Out of the cave, the procession is the first piece. Then turtles versus flying Mandalores, or a turtles. Then Mando saying, turtle, go home. Then the gate at Navarro, and Mandalorian parking, carrying Grogu in that picture. Then the IG statue and the Mandalorian carrying Grogu at the IG statue. Then reverting, the IG-11 reverting. Then the droid smiths working, Grogu hugging. Then close-up of Grogu hugging one of the droid smiths with a big smile, actually. Then the pirate carrier and the ships, and then a close-up of the deck of the pirate ship with some of the fighters. Then the landing at the castle, and then a distant shot of the throne room. And then, oh, wow, a little bit different style look. I like both looks. In this one, Bo-Katan is kind of slumped in the throne, but going out of the front of the throne, where I feel like the choice to be slumped across the throne, is this is more of a passive defeated slump in the picture. But the one I feel like was more effective was an aggressive, more bitter defeat, more of the apostate. Like this is more of a defeated stance, where the one actually is more of an apostate stance of like a casual slump that's nothing but casual. I don't know. Maybe I just like this too much. And that's the last shot of the first episode. So good to be back with all of you, and good to be back with the Mandalorian. Good night, everybody. All right, I want to thank everybody that became a patron recently. Kitty, Michael, and Annie. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Sarah, Sav, and Tom. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Caitlin, Raisha, and James. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Another Caitlin, Clyde, and Michelle. Thank you, thanks, and good night. And Chris, Seth, and Rebecca. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Grace, Zach, and Bryce. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Catherine, Craig, and Dawn. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Carol, House, and Elizabeth. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Heather, Bridget, and Catherine. Thanks, and good night. Laura, Carter, and Michelle. Thank you, thanks, and good night. And Alexi, Megan, and Neo. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Thanks everybody who supports the show directly on Patreon or supports on Apple Podcasts. Thanks everybody that supports our sponsors. And thanks everybody that just spreads the word about the show or podcasting in general. That's how new people find the show. Just you sharing your experience with the podcast. I really appreciate it. Couldn't do it without all you. Have been able to grow our archives because of this Tuck You In sponsor or whatever Scoots is asking for help with. Thanks and good night.